Hey. We're going to be talking about a wife of noble character today, and we're going to be obtaining lessons from Abby, which is Abigail. The scripture is 1 Samuel 25, 1 through 44. I'll read part of it, but most of it I'll just kind of paraphrase because I'm going to be throwing out some points for you. So, honest, responsible, wise, humble, trustworthy, discerning, patient. When you hear words like that, can you honestly say that those words can be adjectives to describe you? Like when you think about someone describing you to another person, would they use any of these words? Would they use all of these words? What do you think? So these are all words that I would say describes Abby. And so in this passage, we're going to see all of these things, and we're going to be able to take some lessons from the things that she experienced and the life that she had, so that we can implement some of those things, so that we can be this type of person, so that we can show up in our marriage and in our everyday lives a better person, right? So instead of something that I have noticed is that we as women, like women tend to focus on what our husbands are not doing. If it ain't you, it could be your sister down the street or somebody that you know. But usually when you talk to women and they're talking about them not being happy and what's kind of going on and things that are frustrating them, instead of them taking a self audit, they are thinking about or focusing on the things that their spouse isn't doing or hasn't done or not accomplishing, all of those things. But when you think about that, that means that there is something that you're not doing, right? So my first lady, a while ago when I first got married, she just kind of opened my eyes to that. So when you are so focused on the things that your husband isn't doing, the things that he hasn't done, blah, 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 when you're focusing on those things, you're missing the things that God has called you to do, the things that you're not doing, because if you're so focused on him, then you're missing your part of it. So I want to share Abby's life with you and to show you that you don't have to focus on those things. Just let that man be who that man gonna be and let God work on him, because he can get him a whole lot better than you can. Right? All right, so 1 Samuel 25. I'll start at verse number 3. His name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. She was an intelligent and beautiful woman, but her husband was surely, which is harsh. He was harsh and mean in his dealings. He was a Calebite, which is from Caleb's tribe. So while David was in the wilderness, he heard that Nabal was shearing sheep. So he sent 10 young men and said to them, Go up to Nabal at Carmel and greet him in my name. Say to him, Long live to you, good health to you and your household, and good health to all that is yours. Now I hear that it is sheep shearing time. When your shepherds were with us, we did not mistreat them, and the whole time they were at Carmel, nothing of theirs was missing. Ask your own servants, and they will tell you. Therefore, be favorable toward my men, since we come at a festive time. Please give your servants and your son David whatever you can find for them. When David's men arrived, they gave Nabal this message to David in David's name. Then they waited. Nabal answered David's servant. Well, so let me start right there. All right, so Nabal had he had some men. They were out. When they were out, they did not have protection. David just gave them protection because they were in the same area with him and his men. He didn't ask them for anything. None of their stuff came up missing. They were safe while they were near David, and then they went back home. Okay, boom. David and his men have been out. They need some food. They've been fighting, war, all of that. They need food. They don't have any. They hear that it's that time of the year. David sent me into Nabal's house and asked for some food, told him the good deed that he had done, watched over his men and all of that. And Nabal gonna respond the way Nabal name said. He's gonna respond in a harsh way, in an unpleasant way, in an unkind way. Let me just paraphrase what he's saying. He's gonna say, I don't know who you is. I ain't sending you nothing. This my stuff. That's basically what he said, right? So he said he wasn't sending anything. Okay. David's men went back and told him what Nabal had said. Now, here's the other part. One of the servants told Abigail, Nabal's wife, David sent messengers from the wilderness to give our master his greetings, but he hurled insults at them. Yet these men were very good to us. They did not mistreat us, and the whole time we were out in the fields near them, nothing was missing. Night and day, they were a wall around us the whole time we were herding our sheep near them. Now think it over and see what you can do, because disaster is hanging over our master and his whole household. He is such a wicked man, and no one can talk to him. Abigail acted quickly. She took 200 loaves of bread, 2 skins of wine, 5 dressed sheep, 5 seeds, and roasted grain. She took a lot of food. Okay, that's what she did. She gathered up a lot of food. Then she told her servants, go on ahead, I'll follow you. But she did not tell her husband Nabal. As she came riding her donkey into a mountain, so let me paraphrase this part too. She gathered up, one of the servants came and told Abby what was going on. What happened, who David was, what he did. Now David is on his way to kill Nabal and all his family because Nabal treated him the way that he did. We talking about David here. He the one that slays giants and stuff. So yeah. All right. So Abigail gathered up a lot of stuff. She sends it ahead. She tells them to go on. She coming and she's headed that way. When she gets there, listen to what she said. When Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey and bowed down before David with her face to the ground. She fell at his feet and said, pardon your servant, my lord, and let me speak to you. Hear what your servant has to say. Boom, here we go. Let me paraphrase this part. Now, Abby is face to face with David. She comes before him. She's humble. She's going to whisper. Well, she's not going to whisper. She's going to talk. She's going to tell him all the good stuff, all the things that he's done. She's going to encourage him not to allow somebody as foolish as Nabal to distract him from what God has called him to do and the things that God wants him to do. That's the good stuff she's going to say to him, and it changes his mind. Here it is. David said to Abigail, we on 32 now. David says to Abigail, praise be to the Lord, the God of Israel, who has sent you today to me. May you be blessed for your good judgment and for keeping me from bloodshed this day and from avenging myself with my own hands. Otherwise, as surely as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, who has kept me from harming you, if you had not come quickly to meet me, not one male belonging to Nabal would have been left alive by daybreak. David wasn't playing with these folks. That's why I said, you don't play with David. Then David accepted from her hand what she had brought him and said, go in peace. I have heard your words and granted your request. Here is the good stuff. When Abigail went to Nabal, he was in the house holding a banquet like that of a king. He about to die. Everybody with him about to die. He don't even realize he having a party. While the woman done did all the work. He was in high spirits and very drunk. So she told him nothing at all until daybreak. Did you see that? That's patience right there. Then in the morning, when Nabal was sober, his wife told him all these things, and his heart failed him, and he became like a stone. About 10 days later, the word struck Nabal, and he died. The Lord struck Nabal, and he died. Excuse me. All right, so boom. Here we go. Abigail did what she did. When she came back, he was having a party. He was drunk. She didn't want to disturb him. She wanted him to have a good time. She was patient. That's a patient woman right there. That's a woman with power. She patient. After he sobered up, she told him everything. Then the man had a heart attack. He had a heart attack and he died. That's what happened to him. And then I'm gonna paraphrase this end part, but y'all don't mind. I mean, go ahead and read it for yourself. That's what I was trying to say. So after he died, word got back to David. David liked this woman. He liked how she handled business and everything. She was a kind woman. She was beautiful. At the beginning, it tells us how she's an intelligent and beautiful woman. So, like, David liked what he saw. He liked the way she handled herself and the way she handled this situation. She was a mature woman, a woman of God. Okay, boom. When he found out that her husband dead, David sent word because he wanted to get that woman. And then she was receptive. She received his pursuit. She received it, and then they got married. So let me give you these quick little lessons that that you can learn, these takeaways. Okay, so at the beginning it tells us that she was a beautiful and intelligent woman, and her husband was harsh and evil. So you can have beauty and brains. You ain't just got to be beautiful. You know, sometimes I know people think that you only have to be beautiful or you only be smart. You can have beauty and brains. That's what the words say. All right. And then the second one, you can have yoked yourself to something terrible, but God will still take care of you if you do what he has called you to do. So earlier I was talking about how sometimes as wives, we tend to focus on the things that our husbands aren't doing. So instead of focusing on that, we just need to focus on the things that God has called us to do and what he's told us to do within our roles and how he wants us to behave as wives and mothers. And so if we focus on that, we leave margin for God to do the rest, and he'll take care of all that other stuff. Okay. So number 3. Oh, the other part with that is Abigail was beautiful. She was intelligent. And her husband was not. So that doesn't mean that you can't be who you are, who God has called you to be, because you've yoked yourself to something terrible. I think Uncle PD calls it Abigail was an asset, whereas Nobel was a liability. And so, yeah, like, still do your part. Do what the Lord has called you to do, because he can fix that stuff. All right, here we go. Then the third point, people need to know that they can trust you and you're a woman of action. Have that type of character. That's the type of character that you want to have. You want to be trustworthy and you want to be a woman of action. The servant came to Abigail, and so Abigail didn't know what was going on. They came to her and told her what was going on, and she jumped into action. Okay, people need to know that they can trust you. They need to know that if they come to you, you'll be able to assist or help in some type of way. All right, let's see. Number 4, be a keeper of your home. Abigail had to act fast to prevent a disaster from striking her home. That's responsibility. That's responsibility. She's responsible for them folk. She had to act fast, and she did. And praise be to God that she did. David said, you know, everybody was about to be dead. Okay. So number 5, be ready to intercede, not just criticize. Abby could have gone to David and said something along the lines of, you know, like, well, I mean, you did a good thing. We ain't asked you to do it, but you did this, da, da, da. Or she could have went to Nabal after she fixed the situation and, you know, lit in on him. But she did. She interceded for Nabal, and then she was patient when she got back, which is number 7. Be patient. She could have, when she got back after fixing that stuff, she could have just lit into him and been rolling her neck and all this other kind of stuff, but she did. She let the man enjoy his party. She let him enjoy his mood, because he was drunk. She let him sober up, and then she told him. All right, number 8. Don't allow your connections to keep you from fearing and obeying the Lord. All right. You follow your husband as he follows Christ. When he steps out of line, he is no longer in order. Then he out of order. Okay? Your commitment is not just to him, it's to the Lord first. So, you want to do what the Lord has told you to do. And I've talked to you about how you can confirm that you want to do what the Lord has told you to do. If your husband is telling you or encouraging you to do something that's outside the will of God, outside of what God has told you, you probably you probably need to rethink that one, okay? Abigail could have said, oh, well, I'm not going to say anything because that's what Nobel said, and he's the Lord of this house, and it could have gone a different way. Let me just say that. But it did. That's it right there. And then number 8, be receptive, okay? So remember, Abby had been yoked to Nabal, who was harsh and just evil. Like, he just was not nice in his dealings. That's who she had been yoked to for however many years. She has had to come along and help him with things, like with this situation with David, right? When he died, she was free. She was no longer bound by that marriage, right? And David proposed. And she said yes. You got to be receptive. That man liked her. He liked what he saw. Now, his situation is a whole nother topic, and I can get into that, but I ain't going to do that right now. But she was receptive. He said some good things. He told her how he could take care of her, and she was receptive. So, yeah. I hope we can take those lessons from Abby and we can implement them in our own lives, so that when people use the words wise, trustworthy, humble, discerning, honest, responsible, they can be talking about us as well. In considering that we are striving to become wives of noble character, I am going to be hosting a masterclass on January the 22nd at 7 p.m. entitled Empowered and at Peace, Overcoming Anxiety as Wives, because I know that a wife of noble character needs to have peace, and she needs to be calm, and she needs to know how to be relaxed and to manage all of the things that she has to manage without anxiousness coming up. Because think about it, if Abby was anxious at all, if she was too overwhelmed, then she wouldn't have been able to accomplish the things that she did. She wouldn't have been able to think clearly, to act fast and do what she did, so that she could prevent that disaster from coming up on her home. And so I want to invite you to register for my masterclass on January the 22nd at 7 p.m. You can go to my website at adricalewis.com and register for the masterclass, Overcoming Anxiety for Wives, Empowered and at Peace. That's what I want you to be. There are you have two options. The masterclass is only $97, and so that is the general admission. You can register for that, and you'll get some great information. You could also, there's a VIP section, and there are only a limited number of spots, but you can register for the VIP, which is $197, and you'll get an additional 45 minutes with me, like a therapy session, because remember, I'm a therapist. But you'll get an additional 45 minutes where we will do an actual activity. I'll answer any questions, and we'll just have some good conversation. All right. So hope to see you soon. Bye for now.